Do you consider acts of sexual harassment to be repugnant?
Yes, of course.
And do you support the right of anyone who claims to be sexually harassed to be able to have their allegations heard in accordance with the rule of law and due process?
Yes, absolutely.
In your testimony, did you support all forms of redress? Do you think we ought to preclude somebody from going to court or not going to court, or arbitrating or not arbitrating, or mediating or not mediating?
No, I didn't take anything off the table.
Okay, I didn't think you did. I read it pretty carefully.
When political hit jobs rely on distortion instead of facts, it takes a sharp legal mind to bring the truth back to light. Senator John Kennedy just delivered a masterclass in reading the record. Let's roll the tape.
Judge, your spouse, Scott's a pretty good lawyer in his own right, isn't he? Yeah, I'm sorry, I neglected to mention that when I was introducing you. This issue about your feelings about sexual harassment and the recourse of people who have been harassed seems to have arisen when you were testifying as a private citizen back in 2021 before the House, as I understand it. And I've read your testimony. I've read the record. I don't see how any fair-minded person can conclude that you were trying to do anything to impede someone who's a victim of sexual harassment from being able to address the wrongs. Here's a quotation from your testimony. Quote, your words, not mine. Allegations of sexual harassment and assault should be taken seriously, and accusers afforded the full protections of the law as they seek to hold those responsible to account. Removing one form of dispute resolution, however, does not further those goals. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
Now, if I am a victim of sexual harassment, I have a number of options. I can file a complaint and try to resolve it privately, if it's in the workplace, with my employer and the alleged perpetrator. Can I not?
Yes, you can.
Or I could choose to mediate the dispute. Could I not?
Yes, Senator.
Or I could choose to arbitrate the dispute. Could I not?
Yes.
Or I could choose to go to court. Could I not?
That's correct, Senator.
Now, do you oppose removing any of those options for someone who's an alleged victim?
No, Senator. Victims should have their choice of how to deal with these issues.
And as I understand your testimony, you tell me if I read it wrong, but I looked at it pretty carefully. What you were saying is that, at least as I appreciate it, that all forms of redress should be available to the alleged victim, right?
Yes, Senator.
I mean, would you elaborate on that a little more? Because I honestly, I don't get it. I mean, I get the politics, you know, the folks that Democrat and Republican and all that, but my experience, you're not a very political person, and you were asked to come testify as a lawyer and an expert in the law. So tell me what you said.
Thank you, Senator. And when I hear these criticisms, it feels very disconnected from my actual testimony. I would never try to silence a victim of sexual assault or harassment. My point in my testimony was to provide some context for how many different options for resolving these claims and addressing these claims should be available to women. And forcing them into litigation or taking away their choice of one option or another is not actually supporting the victims, and Congress should do as it sees fit to make sure that these victims still have options for resolving these terrible events.
Okay. Well, let me be sure I understand your testimony. Do you consider acts of sexual harassment to be repugnant?
Yes, of course.
And do you support the right of anyone who claims to be sexually harassed to be able to have their allegations heard in accordance with the rule of law and due process?
Yes, absolutely.
In your testimony, did you support all forms of redress? Do you think we ought to preclude somebody from going to court or not going to court, or arbitrating or not arbitrating, or mediating or not mediating?
No, I didn't take anything off the table.
Okay, I didn't think you did. I read it pretty carefully. All right, well, thank you, Judge.
Senator John Kennedy didn't fall for the political theater or the manufactured outrage being pushed by the left. Instead, he did something radical in Washington. He actually read the testimony. Pulling directly from the record of a 2021 House hearing, Kennedy methodically walked through the witness's exact words to expose how completely disconnected the critics' accusations were from reality. Far from trying to silence victims of sexual harassment or block accountability, the testimony established a clear, common-sense principle. Allegations must be taken seriously, and accusers deserve the full protections of the law. But true justice doesn't mean stripping away choices. Kennedy highlighted how a victim should have every tool available in their arsenal, whether that's resolving a dispute privately, choosing to mediate, opting for arbitration, or marching right into a court of law. Kennedy cut straight through the partisan noise, noting that taking options off the table doesn't help victims, it only restricts them. By laying out the choices step by step, Kennedy and the witness reinforced a foundational legal truth. Everyone claiming to be harassed has an absolute right to have their allegations heard in accordance with due process and the rule of law. When the witness pointed out how frustrating it feels to see actual testimony twisted for political attacks, Kennedy provided the ultimate backup, validating her expertise as a lawyer rather than a political pawn. It was a sharp reminder that while political hacks love to score cheap points with out-of-context talking points, real legal experts focus on what actually works for the American people. If you are tired of partisan distortions and want to see common-sense due process defended against political theater, hit that subscribe button right now. Senator John Kennedy's meticulous breakdown proved once again that when you bring actual receipts, the political smoke and mirrors instantly vanish. What do you think about this brilliant defense of the rule of law? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.